Hi class, today we're going to take a look at the note receivable calculation. So we're going to look at SE8. On August 25th, the company received a 90-day note at 9% interest. And a settlement of an accounts receivable, the amount of $20,000. Determine the maturity date, amount of interest on the note, and the maturity value. Please. So what you do here is it's a 90-day note. So you would figure out the days. In order to figure out the maturity date, you would figure out the days in the month and when it would end. So in August there are 31 days. You got the note in on the 25th, so you do equals 31 minus 25, so there's 6. Then in September there are 30 days, October 31, and then November it would be the remaining days. So let's take a look. So far we've used 67 days, so it would equal 90 minus the 30, 1 minus 30 minus 6. So it would be November 23rd, maturity date, November 23rd. Then to take a look at the interest, what you do is take a look at the principal, 20,000. Take a look at the interest rate, 9%. And then you take a look at time. So you would time divided by 365. And so that would be equals 90 divided by 365. So let's do 90 and let's do 365 here. So then that would equal, and you do 2 parentheses because we're going to do 2 equations, 20,000 times the 9% times the days, parentheses, divided by the 365 days, which would come up to total interest of $443.84. Therefore, the maturity value would be the original value of the 20,000 plus the $443.84. So the total maturity value is $20,443.84. And where we get that is principal of 20,000, interest of $444.84. And so here are your answers as far as maturity value, amount of interest you would pay, and then that, and then the maturity date for SE8. So let's also take a look at SE10. Excuse me. I'm going to take a look at SE10 and calculate one of the turnover ratios. There seemed to be some confusion regarding how to use the average ratio and such, so we're going to take a look at this. So Wellman Company has cash of $80,000, net AR of $180,000. They also have net sales, $1,440,000, and last year's, so this is all current year, last year, they had accounts receivable of 140,000. Now, why would last year's matter? Remember, when we're taking a look at turnover, the formula is, AR turnover. The formula is net sales divided by average accounts receivable. So in order to get an average for accounts receivable, you would need the current year and the prior year. So the average AR, so here's the current year, is 180. The prior year is 140. So here's what you do. You'd equal 180 plus the 140. Let's say it's divided by 2. So 160 is your average AR. So now we already have net sales. So we would have the net sales of 1,440,000 divided by 160,000, which is the average AR, and your turnover, your receivables turnover, is 9 times. Any questions on that? If there's some confusion regarding, the average and whatnot, please let me know. Again, these are chapters 9. So now we're going to take a look at So now we're going to take a look at chapter 10, and we're going to take a look at SE 3, 4, and 5. So let's take a look at SE 3 here. And SE3 says the fitness center purchased new step machine of $8,250. The apparatus is expected to last 4 years and has a residual value of $750. What will the depreciation expense be each year for what will the depreciation expense be each year during the straight line method? So cost, residual value, minus the 750. So the depreciable asset is the 7,500. It has a life of 4 years. So the annual depreciation is the 7,500 divided by 4. So the $1,875 is the annual depreciation under straight line. So now on SE 4, let's take a look at the production method. And SE4 says, assume the machine in SE3 had an estimated life of 8,000 hours. We would use 2,400 of these hours in year 1, 2,000 in year 2, 2,200 in year 3, and 1,400. How much would depreciation expense be? So let's take a look at this. So we would still have the same residual value as above, so I'm going to carry that through. We would have 7,500. So year 1, we would use up, we'd have the $7,500. Then we'd have the percentage used. So, sorry, the residual value is 7,500. The percentage used, we're going to calculate, is actually, for the first year, is 2,400 divided by the 8,000 hours we believe we're going to use. So then the depreciation is 7,500 times the 30% that we're going to use. So year 1 depreciation is 2,250. So then if we take a look at year 2, year 3, and year 4, what I'm going to do is just copy down these formulas and then we'll fix the usage. So year 2, we are going to use 2,000 hours. So the depreciation is 1875, and I believe it says round to 2 decimal points. Nearest dollar. So I will fix that right now. And then year 3, we are going to use 2,200 hours. And then year 4, we are going to use the remaining 1,400 hours. So here's the depreciation as the years play out. First year, 2,250. Second year, 1875. Third year, 2,063, and the fourth year 1,313. Obviously we would fix that total up. I think it's off by like $1. It is. So we would adjust that by $1 to make sure that our total depreciation ties out to our total asset value. So let's take a look at SE5, which is double declining. Alright, so SE5 says assume the same machine, use the double declining balance. How would the depreciation be here? So for the double declining balance, what we would do is take a look at the year. So I'm just going to copy a little bit of material. So year 1, it would start at the 1825. Notice we do not do the residual value here. And then what we would times it by would be 50% each times. So we would do the 8,250 times the 25, and then what you do is you always decrease your value by what you already depreciated. So the second year you would start at a value of 4125 and such. So let's continue on. Until you're fully depreciated. So year 4, what would happen is year 3, you basically come down and say, okay, how have I depreciated? I've depreciated a total of $7,218.75. My residual value is the $7,500. So then the remaining depreciation, depreciation for year 4 is, sorry about that, hit the wrong button, is the 7,500 less the 7218.75 that you've already depreciated. So your remaining depreciation for year 4 would be $281.25. Now notice you then, on the last year, do take out the residual value of the 750. Any questions on those items, please let me know. This is just a simplified method, taking a look at your homework and going through some of these. Like I said, please let me know if you have any questions on these. I will post these before your homework is due, just so you can go through them. Remember, this is Chapter 10, SE 3, 4, and 5. Please make sure you're reading the chapters, asking questions, and such. And please let me know if there's any problems. Thank you.